Hey guys, this is Dr. Hayes, and welcome to part 2 of the coming of age picture books videos that I'm making for you guys. So, where we left off in the last video, we had books about who am I, what's my identity, accepting myself, those kinds of books, getting kids ready to enter into this coming of age phase that they're going to be in as in adolescence. And then we had a section of books about going to school and entering into this milestone experience of going to school and being educated for the first time, and then while you're in school, fitting in sort of that fit in with our topics we've talked about in class about the educational opportunities that the characters in the novels we've been reading have had. And so the picture books all about school and the experience of going to school lead into that for older readers. So the picture books about school get younger readers started as they approach that age where they're going to be going to school and then thinking about what they want to do. And that leads us into the next group we're going to be talking about. So in this video, we're going to be talking about picture books about thinking about your future and goal setting and planning and getting, ideas about what you're capable of and what you can do with your future. And then we'll also talk about the second section of books from this video will be about another topic we've talked about in class, which is sexual development and physical development, puberty, and things like that. So there's several books I'll show you. Most of these I have just pictures of, but I'll kind of go into them a little bit. And some of them I have physical books with me. So let me see here. Let's minimize this, kind of get the thing situated. Yep. Okay, so coming of age picture books part 2. This is where we are. The first section, as I've mentioned, is books about the future, books about planning for the future and goal setting and things like that. So the first book, let me pull my camera back on here, is a classic, Dr. Seuss. You have to start with this one. Oh, the Places You'll Go, right? I have a kind of a fancy slipcover copy. It's like in a slipcover, and it's a fancy copy that has a little guy on there. This is not typically what it looks like, but it typically has more of a, that's what the cover. You might have seen that, or it has like the, it has this on the cover, the swirly pattern, but this is like a cloth slipcover edition I have. But, this book is something that people get each other for, well, not really get each other, but like parents will get it for people when they graduate, because it's all about, setting off. The place you'll go, setting off, and the things you'll encounter, and sometimes it'll be scary, and sometimes it'll be weird and unexpected. This page, talks about sort of the uncertainty, all alone, whether you like it or not. Alone will be something you'll be quite a lot. And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. Right? So it's an acknowledgement that the future is uncertain and scary, and sometimes you feel like you are all alone when you go to encounter it. And so this is something we talked about with Sandra Cisneros, the House on Mango Street. Concept of being in isolation, like when you're going forward, you feel like you're all alone, you feel like you're isolated, and so this is this book captures that as well, but ultimately it's hopeful that and you will succeed. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98 3/4% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. That's kind of a well-known quote from the book, right? So this book is very encouraging and hopeful about reaching your goals and going into the future with confidence, and it's a classic. I had to start with that. Then we have What Do You Do with an Idea? This is another book. Let me pull it up here. Here we go. So What Do You Do with an Idea? This is a award-winning book, and it is very similarly, it's kind of about this uncertainty, like, here's where it started. One day I had an idea. That's what the little boy over there says. Where did it come from? Why is it here? I wondered. What do you do with an idea? And so it's this fantastical visualization of this boy who he's kind of scared of this idea. It's like a nondescript, scary but yet exciting thing that he nurtures and takes care of, and it grows. And he says he's ultimately happy that it had shown up, even though, look, it shows all these people and they are kind of skeptical of it. They don't understand it. They don't get it like he does. And they thought it was weird, but it becomes a part of him, and they spend time together. And notice it sort of starts growing. More of the book becomes in color, and it expands. So this is very abstract, I guess. Like, the idea is like this weird egg with legs and it has a crown, right? But the idea eventually, he says, and then I realized what you do with an idea, you change the world. And so you see it ultimately is in color, and he's wearing the crown instead of the idea wearing the crown. And so it's this very just inspiring, encouraging book that people have just gone nuts over, that gets children in that mindset of even a small thing that comes to their mind, or a goal they have, or an idea they have, that they think people might not understand, people might think is strange, it might not come to anything, they don't really know what to do with it, that if you keep it, nurture it, don't turn your back on it, and you could change the world with that idea. So that's another one that I had to show you guys. So our next video is, or not video, sorry, book, I'm recording a video, so that's why I said that, is a Curious George. It's very similar to Oh, the Places You'll Go, but it's Curious You on Your Way. And it is a Curious George book, very, very similar. So much to see, so much to try. What should you do? It's up to you. Very similar to the Oh, the Places You'll Go. This book is, again, given to people when they graduate or when they are setting off on a new road. You know, something new, right? And the feats you imagine, you'll just have to try. And imagination can lead to invention, it says. And so it shows him imagining these boats, and he learns how to do this, make these boats, and he tries it. Here, it was very similar. And if the path that you choose gets rocky and rough, whenever you feel all alone, remember, we're with you all the way. Today, tomorrow. So it's talking about being alone and the path getting rough, just like in The Places You'll Go. Today, tomorrow, and every day. We're proud of Curious You. So there's this we, the implication is that there is someone who is gifting this message to a young person who's setting out on their way, right? So that's just another example. Let's see. Okay, so another example is The Wonderful Things You Will Be. This is a similar book of using your imagination to fantasize about all the things that you might do with your life, and where you might go with them. I won't go into detail about those because I don't have pictures of the inside. Another one, The North Star. This is, you see the front, I don't know if you can see the front, where there's a sign that says this way, that way. It's kind of like looking for guidance in your life, looking for some sort of direction, and figuring out how to find it when you're not sure along the way. Here's another one, Someday. This is about it has there's a baby in it, and it's kind of how they grow up and what that baby will be someday. And it's more from like a parent looking at what their kids will be, but but it's still sort of this, when kids read it, it shows about the future is beyond, there's something beyond where what they currently are experiencing, and so there's a future ahead that people are concerned about and care about for them. Here's another one. I pulled this one out because this is about a specific person. This is representative of a genre of picture books that is that are about certain admirable figures from history. Rosie Revere, engineer. This is about the women in World War II who worked in factories, and like the Rosie the Riveter character. I know there's the same series called Ada Twist Scientist, and it's about female scientists and things. There's another one, I forget the name, but it's about an artist, and it's just about encouraging young readers about. These are geared specifically toward young girls, about encouraging them about things that they can do with their lives. My daughter read this in school this year. She's in 5th grade. Rosie Revere, engineer. So I thought I would use this as an example of, there's a whole genre of picture books about well-known figures from history that are inspirational, or not necessarily real figures from history, but people who, like, characters who are inspirational careers, like picture books about being a doctor, or picture books about being a first responder, or a police woman or man, or something like that. Teachers, there's books about future careers that kids read that help them get in the mindset of fantasizing and planning for what their future might hold. So this one was just one I picked to stand in. Ruby's Wish is one, it's very similar, but she is new. Like, she's from China and doesn't feel like she fits in, and this is about how, her fantasy about what she hopes her life is like someday. So just like in the other sections that I showed on the other video, where there are in all of these types of coming of age picture books for children, there are examples that include diversity, diverse race, and gender, and class, and things like that. So I wanted to include this one for that. This is one that Chelsea Clinton, Hillary Clinton's daughter, wrote this book, and it is kind of a girl power book. She persisted, and it's based on Hillary Clinton's campaign slogans and things like that. But beyond that sort of timely inspiration for the title and the content, it is it's another one about girls who do great things and who can accomplish great things. You might be noticing a trend. This is kind of a thing that, when you look at picture books about goal setting and aspiring to your future and what you are capable of and what you can accomplish, there is a drastic unequal distribution between books for young girls and books for young boys. By and far, most of the many more. I think most is accurate. Most, if not, a vast majority of picture books about, like, be who you can be and do all you can do, they're mostly geared toward young girls. And on the one hand, that's great. Historically speaking, young girls have been sort of told that there's only certain careers that they're capable of, and there's only certain future paths that are open to them. But on the other hand, I worry that, because young boys also need that same inspiration, that they can do whatever they set out to accomplish and that they are worthy. But you just don't see quite as many books geared specifically toward young boys about encouraging them for their future. So I wanted to include some of these to show the inequality that way. Oops, I went back too far. This one is pretty cool. I just think it's cute because it's called After the Fall, and it's about Humpty Dumpty. And it's like, okay, now what, right? And it focuses on the line, instead of Humpty, they couldn't put Humpty together again, they change it. Okay, now how can Humpty get back up again? Because it's like once you fall, and you might have a real severe failure that you feel like there's no coming back from, you can get back up. You can put yourself together again, and you can get back up and keep going, right? So this is sort of an encouraging book for young people, picture book. It's whimsical, it's about Humpty Dumpty, but the message really is, failure is not permanent. Failure is a lesson, how to get back up and shake yourself off and put yourself back together again. And that's a life skill. I mean, that is not even just for children. That's for, I think, all adults could stand to read this as well. And it's super cute too. Another one, thanks for the feedback, I think. This is a cute little book, and it's just sort of, it's a little instructional book about accepting criticism, positive and negative feedback, basic criticism and compliments, as it says there on the front. And, how the proper ways to interact with people. This one is not directly about planning for the future and goal setting, but it is about sort of using the criticisms and feedback, positive and negative feedback that you receive to help develop your plan going forward. Using feedback you receive to help goal set and plan for what you're going to do next, right? So I threw it in here as kind of a honorable mention as far as that goes. Okay, this is a really cool book. I Can Do Hard Things. And it's not geared toward boys or girls. This is similar to the She Persisted books and things like that, Rosie Revere books about you can accomplish great things if you put your mind to it, kind of a thing. But this is geared toward all kinds of kids, not just young girls. And you can see from the cover they have endeavored to be very diverse in their representation of who this book is for. And it's sort of an encouraging book of affirmations for kids to think about their future and the accomplishments they are capable of with positivity and excitement and hope, rather than discouragement and uncertainty. This one I just think is so sweet. This is a book about, kind of never give up, kind of is the message. It's The Oldest Student, and I think it's a true story. Mary Walker, there's this story of this elderly woman. I'm pretty sure she was 95 when she finally graduated. I think it was college. She got a bachelor's degree, but she had to be helped across the stage and was in a walker and all this stuff. But she had a little cap and gown and she walked. I'm pretty sure she walked. She might have been in a wheelchair, but I think I remember seeing video of her. It's a true story about how she was in her 90s and earned her degree. And so this is sort of this message of it's never too late to attempt to accomplish a goal that you're going for. So it's really cute. A little book. Here's another one, Big Plans. It's very similar. This is more of a straightforward, what are you going to do with your life? What do you want to be when you grow up? Sort of intentionally thinking it through, looking at what your options are, understanding that you're never too little to start thinking about these things and being excited about your future. Not that there's the pressure that you already have to start, right? Get going, you're already behind. It's not that. It's more of it's never too early to be excited about what you're capable of in the future, these big plans. And I really like Lane Smith, the author Lane Smith. He wrote several other picture books that I'm he's an illustrator, actually. He didn't write them, but he's an illustrator that he did The Stinky Cheese Man and The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. If you've read those books, he's an illustrator that I really like, so I had to throw him in here. Here's another one, The Almost Impossible Thing. And this is a book that's very similarly abstract to the What Do You Do with an Idea book that I showed you. And it is this sort of abstract, almost impossible thing, this idea that you think you might want to do, and it seems like it's unlikely that you'll be successful and unlikely that you'll achieve it, but but you still, it's an encouraging book that you're capable of impossible things, because it's not an impossible thing, it's an almost impossible thing. Okay, so that's all the ones about planning for the future and encouraging you to think big about what you're capable of going forward as an adult. So the next section of books is books about puberty. So this, let me get to the next. Yeah, let me blow up the screen. So the first book I'm going to talk about is called Marvelous Me. So let me open this up for a second. So we have talked just a little bit in class when we were reading I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings and The House on Mango Street. We were talking about, sexual development and how sometimes entering into the physical sexual world is thrust upon young people, especially young women, and before they're ready. That happened in I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. It happened in The House on Mango Street. Even in Caged Bird Sings, her brother Bailey is sort of initiated into the ways of sex kind of early when Joyce shows him what's what in the tent, And so I wanted to show these picture books about puberty and sexual development that are being developed, because to show you how far we've come. The Caged Bird, that was set in the 30s and 40s. Mango Street was set in the 80s. But in the interim of that time, and more into modern, current, present times, and a literal explosion of books, illustrated picture style books, have been developed and created for audiences, some as young as like little kids, like this is your body and this is all the different parts and things like that for little kids, and then some that are more geared toward teenagers, about how to take care of your body, what's happening to your body, what does it mean. It's perfectly normal. And most of these books that we encounter are super body positive and encouraging, and the goal is to prevent situations like Marguerite experienced, and I Know Where the Caged Bird Sings, and any countless other number of books between that we haven't read for the class, about how this lack of information, lack of certainty, just sort of no education, no way to teach it yourself. So the goals of these books is to be body positive, sex positive, encouraging, to make kids understand that there's nothing to be embarrassed about with their body. There's nothing to be ashamed of, and that they are not weird or anything like that. So I wanted to start off showing you this book, Marvelous Me, and it is the book that my parents got for me when I was little. And it is all about the human body. Like, it's all about like how your bones work. Like, when you break a bone, how does it knit back together? How does your blood pump system work? The waste disposal of like your kidneys and your bowels and stomach, and how do you process food, your teeth and all kinds of things like that. But it also has a just kind of sandwich in the middle. This is from 1984, so this would have been around the same time as the Mango Street, but sandwiched in the middle, right in the middle of the table of contents, is How is a Baby Made, right? And the birth of a baby. I have to show you these. They're so funny. I remember reading this book tons when I was a kid. So like, here, so for example, here's just a page of like, how do you, healthy, how do you eat? Well, you eat, rest, exercise. How do you keep your body healthy? Here's one about, how your kidneys work and going to the bathroom and waste disposal. All just really cute stuff. How your muscles work, what all kind of cells are in your blood, and in your body. Then you get to the, how is a baby made? So there's this little illustration of these little, I guess they're cells. I assume they're cells. One of them's a girl because she has eyelashes, and one of them's a boy. You can tell. One of them's a boy, one of them's a girl, because the girl has eyelashes. But it's very frank, and this is why I wanted to set up, starting around this era, like after the free love movement of, the hippie movement, 60s and 70s mainly, and the women's liberation movement, the feminist movement started. You see a lot of these books that come out about puberty and sex education for kids being very just straightforward and frank in their language, using the real terms, using the real, they don't say, in their noni and their nani, right? Like it's in their private, they don't use the little, nicknames for private parts. They use the actual, part. And so there's a whole part in here, about how it, trigger if you don't like hearing about body parts, but, this is a religious based book, so it's in marriage only. So it talks about the wife and the husband, which I think is very interesting. The wife and the husband versus man and woman, right? So when a husband is with his wife, sometimes he feels he loves her very much. His penis knows how he is feeling, and it fills up with blood so that it gets stiff. When the wife cuddles her husband close and feels how much she loves him, then an opening between her legs, called the vagina, gets warm and slippery. The man then gently pushes his penis into the woman's vagina. It feels good and loving to both of them. It feels good and loving to both of them. The man then fountains a shower of tiny sperm in fluid into the woman's vagina, and that feels extra good. I love it. So anyway, so it goes on to about how the sperm, fertilizes the egg. And the next page is showing how a baby grows and how it's born. But I just remember when my brother and I were young, and we would read this page, and that feels extra good. Like, I don't think that part was necessary. Marvelous Me book. I don't think that feels extra good was necessary. But anyway, that's like one of the early example of, ultimately, other than the exclusionary husband and wife, because plenty of people have sex and make babies who aren't husband and wife, or that are same sex. So it's not LGBT inclusive, and it's not even, the assumption is that this process takes place inside of marriage, because this is a book from a religious organization. But other than that, I kind of admire how frankly, open it is about describing the process. And that sort of became the trend. And that's kind of what studies show, that's what, that's the level of education. It's not weird. I mean, it's like saying, the way you make a fist is you tuck your fingers in and put your thumb on the outside. You're describing parts of your body and what to do with them to make it do a certain thing. For this, it's, well, when you're ready, the penis fills up and gets stiff, fills up with blood, and then there's an opening called the vagina, and you put it in there, right? It's just very matter of fact about the process, right? And I think that I admire that. That's the energy I'm bringing in as a parent as well. So I wanted to share with y'all, that's what I experienced when I was young. So let me, I have some more on here, pictures wise. Let me see. Okay, so here's just some examples. This one's called, Your Body is Awesome, and it's just what you'd expect. It's the, book about, it's more for young kids. So these first few I'm going to show you are geared toward younger kids. And, it's just very early on initiation into, this is how your body works. These are the functions that it has. It's age appropriate. So it's introducing ideas about body changes and body functions early on in an age appropriate way. Here's another one, Amazing You. And it is all about private parts, but you can tell by the illustration style and, the age of the characters on the front that it is geared toward, a little bit of a younger, audience. And it's showing that even young readers, you can talk to them about their private parts, and you can tell them what they're called, and you can explain how boys have a different thing than girls have, and that's perfectly fine and appropriate to do for a certain age without talking about the sexual functions of those parts, right? Let's see. Here's another one. Okay, so this is a very popular, the American Girl dolls. You might notice at the top that little pink banner. The American Girl series has these books. The Care and Keeping of You. There's two of them now. There's Care and Keeping of You 1 and Care and Keeping of You 2. I've just put the first one, the original, on here. And it's the body book for girls, and it is, I mean, it covers all kinds of things about, like, managing body hair, taking care of your skin, taking care of your, when you, it has things about when you get your period, it has things, and it has things about, modesty and things like that too. So there's all kinds of things, and it does have a chapter that explains how, intercourse works. So it's kind of couched in the middle, kind of like the Marvelous Me book I just showed you. It's just kind of couched in the middle of all kinds of things about the body, but the Care and Keeping of You, the focus is on, you are a girl with a girl's body, and this is how you take care of it, right? And all the different ways that it needs to be taken care of. Keeping it clean, keeping it safe, keeping it attractive, like as far as like keeping your skin healthy and things like that. So I wanted to show you those. I mean, we cannot have this conversation without talking about the American Girl books, because they are a go-to now in this area. Let's see. Here's another one that's very similar. The Girl's Guide to Growing Up. It's about, the same kinds of things. Look at the front, trying your first bra, dealing with spots. That's, zits. They're talking about, acne. Building your confidence, preparing for periods. So it's kind of just all kinds of things about taking care of a girl's body. You'll notice that there are books like this for boys, but just kind of like the confidence books we were talking about a while ago, there are way more books like this for girls, like young girls, than there are for boys. Maybe it's because young girls have arguably a much more traumatic time entering into puberty because of having a period and stuff like that. Arguably it's because, young girls have the danger of getting pregnant and have to worry about that, more so than young boys do. I really think that there needs to be more books like this for boys. I mean, there are some, but there's definitely much more for girls. I have some for boys on here, though. So. Here's one for young readers as well. Who Has What, all about girls' bodies and boys' bodies, and and it kind of lets little kids see, oh, this is what a girl has, this is what a boy has. Notice that most of these books, pretty much all these books, what you're going to find, they're going to be, they're going to kind of stay right down the line of a gender binary, of there are boys and there are girls, and that's it. There's nothing in between. There definitely are, definitely books that are LGBT inclusive, and there are books about, trans, children. I have some of them. But, the general, this is what puberty is, books are, pretty, down the line of gender binary, and most of them are also, heteronormative, where the assumption is that a boy and a girl are going to get together. Probably because that's how babies are made, is with a male and a female, so they just keep it to that, because the books don't really focus on as much on pleasure. It's more like, we need you to understand how babies are made. But that's why, in The Marvelous Me, I was pretty excited about how I was like, and that feels extra good, because there's an emphasis on this is a pleasurable experience, not just an experience for making babies. Anyway, little digression there. Here's another one, Babette Cole. I have a couple of her books too about other things, but yeah, she's pretty quirky. Hair in Funny Places, a book about puberty, and it's just a similar, but this is more of a quirky, funny style of book, but it's meant to make the reader feel comfortable about, what's happening, because it is kind of a funny process that happens to us when we grow up, and so this one takes more of a humorous look at it. So we're getting into some books now about really geared more toward older readers, and this one is interesting. Will Puberty Last My Whole Life? Real Answers to Real Questions. And so if you notice, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but at the top it says girls, right? And so if you look at the front of the book, if you start at the front, it's from girls. Then if you notice down here at the bottom, it says flip for boys. You can flip the book over upside down and start at the back upside down, and it'll be boys questions. So the book is segregated into boys and girls questions, and you can watch it that way, or read it that way. That's kind of cool. And the illustration style is pretty funky a little bit, and it's got a diverse representation. So here's another one. This is another very inclusive book. Celebrate Your Body. This one's for girls. I didn't see if there's a version of this one for boys or not. I didn't find one, but there might be the same one, the Ultimate Puberty Book for boys. I assume so, but I didn't see one. But this one is a body positive book for girls. I think this is 4+. So I mean, it's all kinds of, it's age appropriate. It's not too gritty, I don't think. This one is for older readers, and it is LGBT inclusive. See right here, if you can see at the top in the middle, it says LGBTQ at the top with the rainbow. So it's kind of advertising that it is inclusive of that readership. Puberty is gross, but also really awesome. So it's got a cool title, and it doesn't have cutesy pictures on the front. It's just text. But it kind of shows you the things that that it covers. It has periods, confusing, LGBTQ, shaving, hairy, bullying, sleep, sticky. Can't see what that word. Pimples. So there's all kinds of things. It talks about getting boobs, getting hair, your voice changing, how to take care of your skin, and then there's there's sexual element as well, like your sex organs developing and being ready, and hormones and things like that. This one is probably my favorite. I would probably recommend this one. It's probably my daughter, when she's ready, this would be like a cool book that she would read, because it doesn't have like cutesy cartoons on the cover. It's a little bit cooler of a book for older readers. I did have here's one for boys, the Secret Boys Business and Secret Girls Business, and that's separated based on what whether you have a daughter or son or a daughter. But notice the girls one says bestseller, and the boys one doesn't. So I wanted to point that out. Even still, with these books there's ones for girls and ones for boys, it doesn't seem like parents of boys are as interested in buying literature for their sons to read to prepare for puberty. That seems to be a girls thing. Like maybe daughters are more open to the idea of reading a book about their bodies. Maybe that's just too lame for boys to do. I don't know where this cultural idea of that, for a boy to read a book about, questions he has about his body and development. I don't know how we got to that point where that seems lame for boys to do, but the existence of way more books like this for girls and the popularity of the girls ones over the boys ones seems to suggest that using books to talk to boys about these things is not really the way it's done. But I think that's kind of a shame, because there's so much great information in these books, but getting the boys to actually read them is the key. It's perfectly normal. Here's the next few are in a series. It's all the same people who make these. But it's all about your, body growing up, what sex is, sexual health, contraception is discussed, keeping your body clean and healthy, all of those things. So It's Perfectly Normal is one of them. It's So Amazing, same author. This is specifically about the science behind how babies are made and how pregnancy works and how the birth process works. The birds and the bees. Whereas the one before that, it was more of a puberty, growing up, taking care of your body, having sex kind of a thing. This one is more of the actual reproductive process, making a baby. Then the same the same people have another one that I think this is geared a little bit more toward younger readers. It's not The Stork. And it's more for a younger readership. It's the same authors, but it's meant more for little kids. Like, a stork did not bring this, maybe your baby sister. This would be a book, like, if you had a young child and then you and your spouse were about to have another child, like a baby, and you wanted to give an age-appropriate explanation to your current child about what's happening. This would be probably an appropriate book for that. That's what it's meant for. This is a really interesting book that I've recently come across, and it's called C is for Consent. It's pretty new. And it's a board book, those where the pages are all cardboard. It's meant for younger kids. This is not a teenager book. It's meant for young kids, but it's all about, when someone wants to touch your body in any way. So there's pictures inside, like, and it's like a little boy who says, he goes up to a girl in the playground. He said, would you mind holding my hand while we do this game? Like, it's hopscotch or something. And she's like, sure, that's okay with me. Thank you for asking. And it's just like, just any kind of physical interaction, just getting them used to the idea of, make sure it's okay before you interact with anybody else's body, right? Even if you want to hold their hand, if you want to touch them in any way. There's a page about, like, I forget the kid's name, but Johnny's uncle whatever gave him a present. Does that mean he has to hug Uncle whatever? Does he have to give Uncle whatever a kiss just because he gave him a present? No, so it's teaching kids that you don't have to hug and kiss a relative just because you feel obligated to. You're not obligated to touch anyone you don't want to touch, is basically what the concept of this book is. So it's very modern and progressive concept for a book. So I wanted to throw it in here because it's not necessarily about puberty and sex specifically, but it is about being conscious when you're interacting with someone else's body. Someone else's body is not your body, and you don't have access to it if they don't give you access to it. Very basic concept, but still. This is another one that's kind of a cool, funky, sex is a funny word. It's all about, it's a little bit more body positive, LGBT positive. It's more of it's not like a husband and a wife. These are what they do when they love each other and want to make a baby. It's a little bit more modern and progressive than that. That's what these last few I wanted to show you. It's a little bit more of a modern take. The puberty is gross. The C is for consent. All of those. And then this one as well. This is a book that Planned Parenthood has developed. Let's talk about SEX. And they put the ages as 9 to 12. As that's the age range they're looking at. Kids who are entering into puberty. They are, coming up on the age, like young girls might be starting their period, young boys, they're going into middle school. It's basically like 4th grade through like middle school age, right? Is what they're talking about. And so that's the age range is geared towards. So it's the same kind of frank, straightforward, this is a penis, this is a vagina, this is what they do whenever people decide that they want to interact with each other in this way, right? When they want to have intercourse, this is how you do it. And so, but yeah, so, some people have moral opposition to Planned Parenthood, so this might not be a book that you would want to support if that was the case for you. This one is, I wanted to put this because it's really interesting. It's called, there's 2 of them, Where Did I Come From? And the next one I'll show you is a sequel that goes with it. But I want to show you that this one, Where Did I Come From? Has, this is the African American edition. So this is all about like, how do you have sex and how does it happen? How does the baby, kind of like The Marvelous Me I showed you. But this one, the illustrations, you can get different versions for your ethnicity on the inside. Like all the little cartoon, all the people are African American inside instead. So I thought that was just so neat when I came across that. So that's the thing you don't think of. A lot of these, some of these books I've showed you are diverse, where there's all different kinds of ethnicities represented as just randomly throughout the various illustrations. But this one, there's one version that's just it's basically just white people. It's cartoons, but it's white people. And then this one has African American cartoons on the inside, which I thought was kind of interesting. Then the sequel, What's Happening to Me, and this is more of a it's I don't know if it's really a sequel, but it's more of he's pulling her hair and now he's giving her flowers. Like, it's like, what has happened in the meantime that we're growing up? So this is like the puberty book, What's Happening to Me. And Where Did I Come From is the baby's book. Let's see. Oh, and then this is this one is so funny. I just love the illustrations in this one. The little sperm over here, and then the egg, and they're like, hey, what makes a baby? So this is just kind of a funny illustrated, they've personified the sperm and the egg, and they're going on a journey, and it's illustrated really funny. That's very similar to the last book I have on here, Where Willie Went, the big story of a little sperm. And so it's this little sperm, and he goes on a journey, and it's all about how he, is shot out into the vaginal canal, and he goes up there, and he's on a mission, and he's on this big journey. And the fact that he's called Willie, I don't know why that's so funny to me, but it is. It's so funny to me. All right, let me see if I can. Oh, that's the end of that. Yeah, okay, so let me see. Oh, whoops. You're seeing all kind of stuff behind the curtain here. Here we go. I'm trying to see. I'm going to my internet here. Y'all are just seeing all kind of fun stuff here. I'm trying to go to Google Images. Because I wanted to show you a picture from that Where Did I Come From book. I should have had it pulled up, but I don't. Let me go to Google Images. It was so funny. Where Did I Come From book. Okay, so you can see, if you look at this book, there's the illustration. There's like a full page one maybe. There was one I saw. This one. Okay. I think, let's put it where you can see me. Okay. I just wanted to talk about for a second how body positive this is. Because these are some, these people are not on the, thin side, if you will. I just thought it was so great how this chubby little man and woman were getting busy. By this time, the man wants to get as close to the woman as he can because he's feeling very loving to her. And to get really close, the best thing he can do is lie on top of her and put his penis inside her, into her vagina. I just thought, I like the fact that it's man and woman, not husband and wife. I do like that. It's a little bit more realistic. But I just wanted to point out how body positive it is that, it's not just these supermodel attractive people, are boning down having sex. It's also, he's bald and they're kind of chubby and his little butt cracks hanging out. It's so cute. I'm probably being counterproductive by giggling about this, but I'm just so delighted by how, inclusive the images are in this book. Where Did I Come From? Okay, well that's that's the last thing I wanted to show you. Let me see if I can blow myself up here. Yeah, okay. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I know this video was a little bit long. I hope you enjoyed the different books that I had to show you in both of these parts of the video, and it's okay that they're long because you didn't have to come to class this week. So it's a trade-off that you didn't have to come to class this week. So take the quizzes that go with the video, each video, and there's discussion posts posted to go with each video. And so there's no reading response, nothing like that. And then next week when I see you, we will have presentations. So I hope you're enjoying your week off, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have questions, reach out about anything. But in the meantime, have a good week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.